nothing left to lose now. Everything to prove now. As long as I'm alive, I'ma fight back. My fire never cools down. I'm about to catch fire. Yeah, I'm about to catch fire. Get ready for the new me. Get ready for the new me. Tryna hold me down and I go wild. Tryna put me out and I go wild. I'm a fighter, a survivor. Stand back while I catch fire.
Autumn time in Europe means prime surf season, and the world's best challengers are back in town. EDP Vissla Pro Ericeira, our order of business, and we're delighted to be back on the beautiful coast of Portugal. October the 1st, well, it's the time, the month when we like to see thick swells pumping through. Nice conditions in the water this morning. And here to join myself, Paul Evans, to talk you all through it for some hot takes, red hot takes and searing insights. Ben Mundy, Philippe Jervis. Bom dia. Welcome, guys.
Thank you, Paul. Well, what an absolute pleasure it is to be back in Portugal in October. And as you say, the conditions look great. The surf season's kicking in and the best surfers are in town. Philippe, you happy?
Yeah, welcome guys. It's great to have you back here in Portugal, and this is definitely the best time of the year for Portugal. October and autumn, those west swells and light winds are starting to kick in, so it should be a fun one.
Loads of big talking points as well, of course. Autumn, not only the best time of year for surf here, but getting towards the end of the year, and we're getting towards only a couple more events to run in this one. Qualification is the goal, Ben, and things are setting up pretty nicely in both the men's and the women's side.
Yeah, it's crunch time, Paulie. The Challenger Series, you've got this event on for the next 10 days. Then we go to Brazil and then into Hawaii. So, yeah, right now, these surfers are running out of time. They've got, 3 events to really make their dreams happen, and this event is absolutely crucial to that.
Philippe, back at Ribeira, just think about what this wave offers and a chance that it shows our surfers to sort of show their skill set and what they can do. But as ever, there's certain things that are key to doing well out here. What's it going to take for a big result at Ribeira?
This is a really, really tricky wave to compete, because there's always, it depends on the swell direction, and it depends on the winds, the way you approach the wave. But yeah, there's plenty of opportunity. There's plenty of waves on the outside. There's plenty of opportunity on the inside as well. We've seen some really big scores throughout the last years made on the inside waves. So I think the tacticals here will be the waves you choose. It's really, really important, because if you get one wave that actually goes from the outside all the way through the inside with that big steep wall, you get the score for sure.
But that's true. But isn't it like, even though it's like a point break, it's still so hard to read, isn't it? Even like the best guys here obviously get those best waves, but it's still so tricky to pick those ones that run through. Guys that can nail that, it's going to win.
Definitely, it's really hard, and it's always also it depends on the size of the swell. It might be better for the front side instead of the back side. But if it's small, the back side will be a lot easier to put some really strong maneuvers, because the front side surfers will be carving all the way through the inside, and on the back side you can actually attack a little bit more vertical.
Also, Philippe, this is a venue down the years where we've seen some really strong performances from our locals, our Europeans, but particularly the Portuguese. Why do they do so well at this event?
Because we've been competing here since we're 10 years old, so I actually, for me, I hadn't had a really good result out here. There's not too many goofy footers. Actually, our colleague Chico Alves, he actually does really well here if it's big and mushy, but it's a really tricky wave, and we have a lot of Portuguese locals that actually spend a lot of time here.
The other thing, Ben, about this wave, we've been doing events here for a while now. The sheer consistency of the place. We talk about the different winds we can get. Yeah, sure, it's prime season, but you can get a bit of anything from the ocean. Always offers something competable, contestable, and I mean, it was pumping last year.
Yeah, it's so consistent. It handles. We've had this really strong northerly winds this sort of last week. It handles that. It handles a lot of the swell direction. 2 foot. It starts to break and you get little insiders. It holds 10 foot. We've seen 10 foot waves here, just rifling through the thing. So yeah, every sort of condition that it throws at it, it can handle, and that's what makes it such a a compelling competition venue. Not necessarily the world class waves that are in the area, but in terms of delivering bangs for your buck, it's right up there.
Well, thinking of some of those waves that are in the area, obviously we're in Ericeira, Philippe.
Yeah.
You're living just down the coast from here, but a bunch of riches in this town in terms of surfing, and really from beginners being pushed into whitewaters to slabby waves, a little bit of everything in this, and of course a World Surf Reserve too.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's so much choice around here. You have beach break, you have point break, you have lefts, you have rights. So there's plenty of opportunity. Even if you're not competing, you can go just check some waves around here. There's a lot of opportunity and a lot of waves to get yourself some rhythm.
All right, well, someone who's keeping a very beady eye on conditions as ever is Travis Logie, and he's standing by for the call with Joanna Garnell.
That's right, guys. Good morning, and good morning, Travis. Well, we have a wonderful day today. How are the conditions looking?
Morning, Joanna. Yeah, the weather's amazing today. The conditions aren't that great at the moment because the tide's really high, but we're going to come back at 10:30 and have another look as the tide drops out. Pretty promising forecast, though, for the week, but let's see what it looks like at 10:30.
And do you have anything you'd like to say to our surfers that are competing here on this event?
Yeah, I guess you've got to be ready for everything. I mean, just because we have so many heats, you're probably going to get to surf heats in low tide, high tide, and all sorts of conditions. So the winner of this event normally earns the win, surfing all different types of stuff. So being prepared for everything is the way to go.
Well, there you go. We're on hold. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Joanna. Yeah, tide quite high. The hat, Ben, is
High.
really high.
I thought that was high tide.
Very high on the head.
What
there.
you'll find with Travis is that as the tide drops, the hat drops down. It's a really, it's a fascinating thing. Yeah, Trav, he knows this wave. He competed here. He's been a contest director here for years. He knows this wave inside out. I like that. You've got to earn this win. You know, it doesn't come easy, this place, and that's what I like about it.
So beautifully clean out there for the moment. Still a little bit small. We're going to have a 10:30 call to come back. See if we can get things going with the lower tide. In the meantime, we're going to go to commercial break. When we come back, we've got the full morning show. Been looking at the rankings on the Challenger Series. We'll see you soon. Welcome back to live coverage from the EDP Vissla Pro Ericeira. First day of our waiting period, and a light offshore wind just puffing through the canyon here at Ribeira del Haas. We've had the official call. We're going to go on hold for around about 2 hours, 10:30 local time. We're going to come back and have another call. In the meantime, loads of big talking points to break down. And of course, the reason we're here, Challenger Series, is to get qualification settled out. And we're getting down very much towards the pointy end of the season. And Ben, thinking about some of the big performances we've had this year, and we're kind of starting to see those rankings kind of settle out now. And there's almost a situation where surfers kind of know the results they need, or maybe that one big result can really get them over the line. Yeah, exactly. There's been a few sort of notable performers, and they've sort of got a bit of breathing space. And yeah, a couple of heat wins will secure their CT qualification. But as you see there, I mean, that man Rio at the top of the rankings there, he's had some big wins, 2 wins, and he's way out in front. He's pretty much a lock. It's really those sort of points down there around the 6, the Ramseys, the Dylan Moffats, Callan Robson, he's on CT and he's injured. But yeah, there's so many great surfers, all there hunched down there, and it's that kind of that bubble area that we see that red line on the top right of your screen there, where those 11 guys are in at the moment. But there's so many surfers that can jump up quite quickly with one massive result. Yeah, Philippe, it's interesting to see. We've got some of those names we're quite familiar with. Some people that've been on the CT before as well. A few veterans in there. We've got some of that young blood as well in the mix, and some of that sort of up and coming next generation. It's always great to see that kind of generational battle, particularly in Challenger Series competition. Yeah, it's incredible to see the new generation starting to try and get the spot on the CT, and you know what? It has been looking at the charts and the ratings. It looks pretty. You know, one win can change everything. You can go from 25th all the way to the 2nd or 3rd because there's so many points on stake, and it's pretty impressive. Well, one man has been absolutely outstanding this year with a couple of huge performances to kick things off. Big ratings lead for him from Indonesia, Rio Waida. And this is an absolute breakout story here, Ben. Never had a surfer from Indonesia. It's the country with the best surf in the world. And now we've got world-class talent as well coming through. Yeah, there's a real good young group of surfers from Indonesia. And they're starting to get their competitive sort of elements down pat and surfing in all conditions, and this young man is an electric surfer. His technique is brilliant. He's rapid fire, forehand and backhand is equally impressive, Philippe, and he's electric, isn't he? He's so fast. He's really fast, really sharp, super powerful. It's for me, what's impressive is
the power that he actually goes in between turns, because he explodes so much on the top turn, and then he gets a lot of speed coming from the bottom turn, and usually his turns connection is so good and super fast. That's what impresses me.
So that style element too, Paulie? Like, it's just hard to sort of quantify what style is in surfing, but he's got it, and it's hard to rack up points based on it, but he's just got that. He just looks good when he surfs, in my eyes.
He's got some firm numbers as well here. Gets 17th in this event, he's on. Even if he doesn't do that well, he's looking very, very good for qualification.
Yeah, I think we can see him, pretty much guarantee him on the CT for next year. And, speaking of CT surfers, one that we have seen, Zeke Lau, Paulie Evans. You love watching him surf, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, thinking about his performance that he was able to put in here last year, think about kind of just flex and kind of a muscular performance in every way. Mentally super strong, absolutely blitzed it here. But earlier this year at the US Open, unbelievable over there, going all the way for a massive win.
I reckon there's probably only like 5 or 10 surfers in this field that truly believe they can win every event. I think Zeke's one of them. You know, it's not just, it's a mindset. I mean, he's obviously got the talent. Look, this is not his, this isn't his strong point. 2 foot Huntington Beaches, but he's mentally so tough, rightfully, that he can turn it on when he wants to.
It's so weird to see a guy like Zeke Lau winning US Open, because normally you look at Zeke Lau and you see big turns and on big waves and charging big barrels, and then out of nowhere it just shows how good he is. Like, it's 2 foot US Open, one big turn on the outside, the Huntington hop, and then the big turn on the inside, and you don't see Zeke is so big, but at the same time he's so loose and so fast. It's pretty impressive. I was super impressed with the way he was surfing at the US Open.
3rd place currently on the ratings. If he makes a final here, he qualifies for sure. A bunch of other scenarios to unfold as well, but sitting in 3rd, he's got some good points on the board, so looking like another strong season for him. Just think about this wave as well. We did talk about some of those young up-and-coming surfers. We saw Zeke do that air onto the rocks last year, but generally speaking at this wave, it will favour you kind of stock surfing, your power, and particularly a good reading of the ocean, Ben.
Yeah, which Zeke's got. You know, it's all about getting those big turns in the real critical moments on this wave. You often get 2 sort of real juicy sections that really stand up straight, and they're the money turns, and he has the ability just to identify those and go for it. But you know what? He's like 28 now, Zeke. You know, like he's getting on really. He's so experienced. He's gone past that kind of, he's sort of yo-yoed a bit, but he's so experienced now, and he should really, he might seal the deal here, I'd reckon.
Really good chance of putting his hat in the ring for qualification this year, as a bunch of other surfers flying high on the Challenger Series. All of that to come over the next 10 days in Portugal. Right now, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll check out the women's ratings. Welcome back to live coverage from the EDP Vissla Pro Ericeira. Clean conditions out in the ocean this morning. That's not quite enough swell to get things kicked off for now. We've got a call to come back at 10:30. That's in around about an hour and a half's time. A beautiful morning though. And light airs, clean conditions, sunny skies in Portugal, and the world's best in town and just chomping at the bit really to get going and get down to business. They've had an opportunity for a couple of free surfs over the past couple of days, but a lot of surfers very keen to get things underway. And it's actually time to start taking a look at our women's rankings, and we talked about those performances from the men. Once again, it feels like a little bit deja vu. This time last year we were saying the same thing. Caitlin Simmers has been unbelievable so far this year, guys.
Yeah, she's just an incredible young surfer. She qualified for the CT and elected to take a year off, and then she's just picked off where she started. She's been unstoppable. Look up there, 25,000 points, pretty much a lock. And, I just can't wait to see her. She's electric. So just to see her surf these type of waves, the waves will suit her. She's got power, she's got technique, and, she's just been on fire. She's the future of the sport in my eyes.
Yeah, one of those surfers, Philippe, that does have a bit of everything. We talked about the different traditional skill set, the progressive. She definitely ticks a lot of boxes in all departments.
Oh yeah, she puts an extra spicy thing on women's surfing right now. She has the classical line, but she also throws a little bit of a tail, and she explodes pretty hard on some finishing turns. So it's gonna be pretty interesting to see how she does here, and obviously one day on the city.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how she goes out here. Of course, surfed really, really impressively last year. The women's event last year was absolutely outstanding. I think all the way to the final as well. So We've got a bunch of those storylines to talk about. Molly Picklum as well. Really impressive year from her. She's not a long way back in terms of points. And you talk about surfers that have kind of been touted for greatness, Ben. A lot of people in Australia have been talking about her for 5, maybe 6 years, been touting her as a CT surfer, and she's really close to it right now.
Yeah, she's really close. She had a taste of it this year and surfed really well. She's everything is right in terms of her technique. She's really powerful. She's got some massive turns in locker, and she just hasn't been able to have that consistency which the CT demands. And as soon as she gets that, which I think she will over time, I think she still might be 19. She's still, so young. These young surfers are growing all the time. I think once she gets that consistency, I think we can see her just, always pushing for those WSL finals. So that's how good she is.
I got more stats for Mole.
Oh, hit me.
5th place or better, 95.3% chance.
That's high.
Of getting back on the CT. Obviously, that increases, but as she goes further into the event, she makes the finals. She's in, but already looking really good right there. In second, of course, just 5 places available for the women. Yeah,
it's not a lot, is there? I mean, that's how tough it is. You saw that leaderboard was probably 10 surfers. There was 7 or so had CT experience. So it's to get in that top 5 is so difficult.
So tight.
Just thinking about stylish surfers, point break style waves, the long waves here. Macy Callahan, she's sitting in 3rd. A really polished performer. She loves a running right-hander.
Yeah, she's a really good surfer, and coming from Australia, obviously the right-hand point breaks will be a positive thing on your side.
And of course in 4th, Betty Lou Sakura Johnson. We saw her really just establish herself via the challenges last year. Had a shot at the CT. A lot of people were thinking she could, get the requalification for the back end of the season. Wasn't able to do it, but sitting in 4th right now, looking really good. Let's check out some of the highlights from earlier this year from Katie Simmers and see how she's been able to put herself in 1st place, a commanding position for her. And in terms of performances, in terms of confidence, she's pretty much got it all, the complete package.
Yeah, she really has, and she's still such a young age, still growing just in terms of maturity and physically. And she just knows how to win. Once she gets in that heat, she gets in the zone. She's so competitively smart. So the whole package is pretty radical.
Quick thought on deciding not to take the spot this year. Smart move?
Well, I thought that was a really smart move. I think, you just forget how young these surfers are. I think she was 15 when that opportunity arose. And I just don't think travelling the world as a 15 or 16-year-old is particularly healthy, and I think taking a year off, maturing was a really, a good move.
Someone that took her spot, we saw her get the win in Haleiwa late in the season last year. Got herself on the CT. Betty Lou at the US Open. And this was this summer in Southern California. And we know all about her skill set in all kinds of conditions. And another surfer you really think destined for greatness, Philippe.
Yeah, this new generation of women surfing is absolutely insane. All the girls are just pushing each other, and you see Katie Simmers. I think it was a really good call for her not going on the CTE because, as you said, she was so young. But Betty Lou is also super young, and she tried herself on the CT last year. Didn't go as well as she wanted to, but she as we see here on the stats, she still got a shot.
So we saw that Hawaiian push last year here, didn't we? Gabrielle Bryan, Betty Lou, Luana Silva, and we all thought that they were CT ready, and then they all struggled a little bit. It shows you how hard the CT is, but I think with next year under their belt, they're going to be so dangerous.
Loads of great talking points here on the Challenger Series. We can get a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to take a look back at last year, an epic event it was. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the EDP Vissla Pro Ericeira. A beautiful sunny morning. Clean lines out of the ocean. Quite small lines for now, though. We're hoping for some swell energy. Just to pulse up a little bit through the morning. Do have a 10:30 call. That's in just over an hour and a half. Time to come back and see if we're going to get competition started on day 1 of our waiting periods. Just thinking about where we are in terms of this wave and past events last year. Obviously, a massive event in terms of getting surfers qualified. A load of cool storylines, and big swell too. Didn't disappoint us, Ben.
Nah, yeah, it delivered last year. There's more swell coming as well. We can expect more of this coming our way soon, but yeah, last year was incredible.
Well, let's take a look back at some of the package of what went down here last year in terms of getting surfers qualified for the Championship Tour. This is a massive one. I need a big result out here if you want to step up. Let's check out some of these highlights. We'll be back at 10:30. That's around about an hour and a half. We'll see you back then.